I'm Frank Reece. This is Mel Shenan.
Yeah, and we were talking a very interesting conversation about social realism and the effects of abstraction on art,
Yes,
and
yes.
the way it's affected the way we think
Yes.
about art in Western Europe. Could you say a bit more about that?
You were telling us about Jackson Pollock and the amount of expenditure that was invested in importing these ideas of abstraction to Europe and displaying them.
Yeah.
And I was suggesting that there was a slightly different theory involved here, that that the Americans were very worried about the power of art, about the power of art with a message, as displayed, I suppose, in Russian constructionism, in other forms of poster art during the time of the Russian Revolution, and that it was a reaction against this to castrate the power of the art message, and this led to
Well, I think they were trying. I think the Americans were trying to show that in America it's free. You can have any opinion you like, as opposed to what was going on in Russia at the time, where the gulags were thriving and people were being sent for their political opinions into exile and so on. So it was designed to look good, for the Americans to look good, in spite of the fact that most of the people in America were rednecks about art. They weren't interested in art at all. In fact, when they put on an exhibition of abstract art abroad, financed by the American government, they were ridiculed for doing it. So the funds had to go secret, and they did it through other channels, but it was all secret. Even the artists didn't know.
We've managed to decouple design and graphics work from any message, any social or political message, from the narrative that previously most of art, ecclesiastical art, the art of the 19th century, the great artists such as Géricault or Delacroix, were able to provide, and that has waned and gone. And it's not only the case with visual arts; it's also the case with poetry and prose. The attempt to decouple the political and the artistic has been.
Are you saying that art is no longer radical because of this?
Well, it's very difficult to see. Very difficult to see, except perhaps in architecture, that it can retain that message.
I see. Because if you look at the work of some of these abstract expressionists who were promoted in these big exhibitions that were financed by the CIA, the art world found it quite radical, didn't they? They found the way Jackson Pollock painted with quite startling compared to the way that it had been painted in Europe. But it didn't carry a political message. It was just simply radical. It was an unusual thing to see done. And people started experimenting in ways that they hadn't before.
You've got to explain the difference between, say, Manet and Monet, and the difference, the attitude that is taken to those two artists. That's where the rupture begins to occur.
Oh yeah, I don't understand that. Can you explain that?
Well, Manet's pictures are intensely political, Déjeuner sur l'herbe. Then you compare that with a Monet picture of water lilies, etc. You can see that the political element has disappeared.
Yes.
And the transition occurs round about this period where art divides into two contrasting worlds: the social realist world, I suppose exemplified in the novels, say, of Émile Zola, on the other, the world of pretty abstraction. You can see the picture that decorates the living room.
In a way, you can think of abstraction as being kind of wallpaper.
Yes,
in that respect.
So in Picasso,
no real message. Yes.
Interesting as Picasso is an interesting figure because he tries to bridge the two.
He does.
But his later work becomes increasingly non-political. His early work, take a picture like Guernica, you can't fault it, can you? The message is so powerful.
But he did try, didn't he, to become, well, he was a communist at the time, and he did offer himself to the Communist Party as a, as a servant to them to produce art, and they repudiated him because at the time they were not interested in unusual art.
No, but that didn't change his particular views.
No, but then he became
Franco and fascism.
No, that's right. No, certainly not. He was very strongly against Franco. In fact, he didn't go back to Spain.
Coming back to your work, you see, this is the point. You've managed to bridge and bring together the two. This is a wonderful, scientifically grounded piece of art behind us, and I found when you explained it to us how powerful the picture was, and how integrated the message was. It's thorough and consistent, well worked out as a complete picture, a complete cosmology that is important. It's an important statement from that point of view. So much more important than Tracy Emin's bed. Yeah.
I always thought that art should be about ideas, and big ideas too, and this is what I've tried with the painting.
I think
well, thank you very much anyway.